Rams Squad Show is back. I'm Gavin Carlson, and was Sunday actually the best thing that could have happened to our Rams?
What it do, squad? It's your boy Brock, and let's just take all our frustrations out on these Arizona Cardinals.
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams Squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it does. What is going on, Ramley? And welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show right here on the Locked On Rams YouTube channel and wherever the heck you get the Locked On Rams audio podcast feed, and all a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which, oh, by the way, it's the #1 sports podcast network in America. That's right. That is right. Before we jump into today's midweek show, quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. We got 2/3 of the Mob Squad, and we're gonna do something a little interesting here on this midweek show. We got me and Brock for the first half, then me and D-Mac for the second half. Completely different perspectives. As Brock would like to remind everybody, not a big fan of PFF. The former athlete, the former player, the guy who actually did this thing. And then the second half, we'll have Brock himself or D-Mac himself, who he might come in with a PFF grade or two. He might give you the ultimate media perspective that D-Mac does. Big Brock, and I got to give you a shout out before we start this. For those who don't know, Big Brock is on the East Coast right now, a little behind the scenes. We're recording this at night. It's almost midnight. This guy just got off a flight. So if he wasn't already a Rams legend, look at how he's holding it down for the Mob Squad. Big Brock, how we feeling a couple days removed from that loss on Sunday?
Man, feeling good, feeling good. I mean, I think I agree with you and a bunch of other sportscasters. I don't know if it's just a way for us to cope when we say this might be the best thing that has happened to us. But for me, I'm going to run with it. I'm going to jump on that train because obviously before we had this loss, they were praising us to win a Super Bowl. We were going to win out. Matthew Stafford's the MVP, and da-da-da-da-da. I was on that same train, and I'm still on the train. I'm not off the train. I'm just saying, sometimes when you read your newspaper clippings and you start believing in what everybody is saying about you, you start to kind of believe it yourself. So I love a little bit of humble pie, and especially in this situation where we're heading into the back end of the season, then we're going to the playoffs. So I think it was definitely a great, eye-opening, like a wake-up call type of experience for us. And hopefully it does the job. You get to go against the Cardinals coming up. So whatever you were pissed off about last week, you losing, let's just take it out on these Cardinals. They, if you get up on them early, they'll roll over and quit. So let's just do what we have to do versus these Cardinals, and then obviously lock in for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk about it, especially going on later in the show about this matchup with the Cardinals. We'll certainly get into our predictions, but I just want to start and continue on that same kind of conversation about what the current mindset of this team might be, right? Coming off of that loss, like you said, it might be copium. I certainly was trying to do it myself the last couple of days, right? Telling myself, hey, this is okay. The Panthers do this to a lot of teams. They've beaten some good teams. They make games ugly. We still could have won, and we had 3 turnovers. Kind of the same copium that the Seahawks fan base was doing against us a couple weeks ago. But on the flip side of things, like you say, maybe you take the monkey off your back. Maybe the spotlight isn't on you as much. But then you go to the odds and, the Rams are still the runaway favorites to win the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford's still the favorite to win the MVP. And I think the NFL world kind of all had the same opinion of, it was a fluky game, but we still think the Rams are elite. Take me inside what the locker room might be like right now. Like, what is Sean McVay like after a loss? Is he one of those coaches that's different after a loss? Does he remind you that you just lost? Or I have a feeling you're going to tell me, no, he's Sean McVay. He's Mr. Positive. He's Mr. Accountability. Let's just get the job done next week. Like, what do you think Sean McVay has been telling this team coming off of that loss?
Absolutely. I mean, the what you just said, he's definitely going to be, obviously he's the ultimate competitor, but he's the ultimate person to be accountable. If he felt like he should have called different calls, early in the game, he'll be accountable. It's on me. I should have called better plays. I should have put you guys in better situations, X, Y, and Z. And I think that's why the players, respond to him so well, is because he does take that ownership. If he feel like he could have did something better, he does take that ownership or that onus on himself to say, hey guys, I raise my hand. I could be better, and I will be better. And I think it really causes a lot of guys to be in that same manner where we all know you might have had a great game, but there are things you can always do better. So if we focus on that, obviously you look at the film, see the bad things that happen, see the things that how they attacked you, and see how we can get better just from this game and move forward. Obviously, like we said in the first show, this might be the best thing that has happened to the Rams, especially this late in the season, coming off a 6-game winning streak and, everybody praising us. I think this is a great, wake-up call for us as an organization, as a team, to really just hone in on what's needed to really lock in and get this thing done. Because we can talk about playoffs and just say it and everything is light. I've played in the playoffs and played in the Super Bowl. There's nothing light about the playoffs. Those games are extremely hard. They're win or go home. So you have to execute every game. And especially if you're not the first seed, you have to execute, wild card, divisional, there's multiple stages to this playoff race. So for me, it's all about, man, just honing in on how can I get better? How can I, better help the team out, and that's to everybody. That's coaches and players. So I look forward to seeing a dominant performance this week against the Cardinals, just off the fact that a lot of the guys probably in that locker room are pissed off that they lost that game. They know they shouldn't, lose to an opponent like that. Not saying that the Panthers are a bad team. They're actually really pretty decent this year. So for us and our standards, we hold ourselves to a higher standard than most people do. And when you go against a team like that you feel like you're superior over, you should get the job done. And the fact that they didn't, I know a lot of guys in that locker room are pissed off. So they definitely want to move on to next week. You got the Cardinals coming in. You're coming off a loss, so there's no a trap game scenario here. So
yeah.
What we say in the league, and I hope this doesn't get bleeped or whatever. Have your piss hot. That's what we say. Your piss need to be hot for these games. You pissed off. Let's go. And let's go execute the way we know how to execute.
Hey, I'm ready to go out there now, right? Big Brock, man, he knows how to fire. He knows how to fire you up, and hopefully that is the message. Like you said, you do kind of avoid this being the trap game because you lost. I know, like you said, the Rams like to handle business against Arizona. You wonder, we'll never know how this game might have looked if they were coming off of a win against Carolina, if they would have potentially overlooked Arizona with the big game against Detroit the week after, and then going to Seattle the week after that. But yeah, now you're in a kind of a nice spot mentally in terms of we're coming off a loss, we're playing a bad team, but we just found out the hard way. There are no free freaking games in the NFL, especially on the road. And the Cardinals have been kind of this weird team where Kyler Murray's out and sometimes they play better without him than with him. And Marvin Harrison Jr. has been out with the appendix, and maybe he'll be back. And, it'll be a weird game. And like I said, we'll get to the predictions and stuff later. I do want to go back to the kind of the McVay point, though, just to play devil's advocate. Like you talk about him being someone who's the ultimate, take accountability. I totally agree with you. He's definitely in there going, man, no way we run the ball that effectively and we don't run the ball more times than we did, right? Like I'm sure he's probably telling Kyron Williams and Blake Corum that. He's probably telling Matthew Stafford, hey, you're having a rough game. I should have done more to help you out. Rely on the run game, especially because it was working so well. But I'm trying to think, is there any scenario, is there any potential downside I'm trying to think of to having a coach who's maybe like hyper hold himself accountable? Like if you may, I don't even know the right coach to maybe contrast that with, but if you think of some other coaches that are kind of like, this is my show. Like I run this thing. If something goes wrong, it was probably your fault. Like, I don't know, maybe like a Bill Belichick type of thing. Like, is there a downside to having a Sean McVay who's going to be a little friendlier with the players and take some accountability himself in terms of, oh, maybe a player might, take his foot off the gas because he's not getting cussed out or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what like an old school type of fan would say, hey, my coach Sean McVay is a little too friendly, a little too player friendly. Like, is that a thing or like I expect, is that a load of BS and we have one of the best coaches in terms of mindset and controlling a locker room?
I think in this day and age where, you have like a lot less ego and the more team, it just fits in this day and age, to be honest with you. I don't think the players that play now could handle a lot of the coaching that, the old school players, had to deal with. So, and I love the way Sean McVay coaches because we're all men. A lot of coaches come in and you get in the NFL and, the coaches forget that you're a man, you have a family, like you're the man of your house when you go home, so when a coach kind of disrespects you, it's like I'm a man first, Right. So I love the way McVay comes at it because, we're all men in here. We all have to be accountable to each other. There's no hierarchy in this system. Everybody respects everybody and everybody is accountable to each other. Like there's no, it's my way or the highway. There's always okay, I have a way that I want to do it. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can execute it. If you feel like you have a better way, let's talk about it. Let's, let me see if it really works. I'll break it down to you on why it shouldn't work. Things like that. Like it's a lot of communication that goes into it. It's not like I said earlier, my way or the highway type of deal. It's all about team, what we can do to make this thing work together. And I think that's really like why he's so trendy. That's why a lot of teams want a McVay. They want not him personally, but probably the next person up to to the table. Like this year, it's Ben Johnson.
Taking his shirt off in the locker room after the game.
Off, being one of the guys. Like obviously you're the head coach, but you want your team to know that you got just as much responsibility in the wins and losses as they do. Like obviously you don't play, but you're calling the calls. You're making sure that situationally we're in the right plays or we're in the right place to execute, or you're controlling the challenge flag and controlling when timeouts are called. So a lot of the things that back in the day, they used to do and the coaches used to coach, I think it was meant for that time. Now it's more about guys want to be respected. Guys come into the league and are taking pay cuts. So now you're dealing with, rookies who feel disrespected, with their contract. So it's a lot of things, you would have to deal with as a head coach. But I love the way McVay comes at it because it's more about just a team aspect. He's accountable to the players and the players are accountable to him. And that way you don't have anybody feeling any type of way, when it comes down to it. Like, did you do your best? Did you execute this play like you should? Yes or no? Let's get it done the right way, and obviously you see he's built, the ultimate culture and he's gotten guys all over the league head coaching jobs. So it's something to it. It's he does it in his own way, but I feel like it works. It works for him. You like I say, you see the culture and a lot of guys that come in there, You know, they stay around, they stick around. You know, they end up drafting guys that stick around for multiple years, multiple contracts, because the guys love being there. They love playing for him. So he's doing something right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree. And again, the question is more so, hey, I see a few idiots that are like, hey, this loss is on McVay because, you know, a real coach would have told his team to lock in and not overlook the opponent. And I'm like, come on, do we really think teams like truly like look over opponents and aren't prepared? Like I'm pretty sure Carolina is just an average to slightly above average team playing at home, 10 a.m. kickoff on the East Coast. You know, a lot of reasons for it to be a tough game. And I think, you know, sure, they're human. And we fell for it a little bit. I remember you and me on the pregame, you know, the midweek show, or when we made our predictions, we're like, man, it's the Panthers. Like, we just did what we did with Tampa Bay. Like, we'll do this. Like, I'm sure there's 1-2% of the brain power of the Rams, right? The coaches, the players that might let that thought creep into their head. But at the end of the day, when the whistle starts, I'm sure you know more than anyone, right? Like, no one is sitting there when it's 3rd and 5 going, hey, we're you know, we only have 2 losses. We're better than the Panthers. Heck no, they're worried about getting the quarterback, right? They're worried about executing, right? And so it's a tough loss. You still like where you're at with McVay. Everyone can rightfully question why he didn't run the ball as much as we should have with how effective we were. But like you said, it might be silver lining. It might help these players, you know, get a little pressure off their back and be ready to go on the home stretch. We're going to take our break. When we come back, I'll talk with Brock a little bit more about this Cardinals game, hear his predictions, what he thinks is going to happen, what I think is going to happen. And then we still got D-Mac coming in here later. He'll talk as well about where he thinks the Rams are looking like the rest of the way. Really, really curious, because he was someone who was high on the Cardinals, then now is low on the Cardinals. I don't know where he's at with the Cardinals, where he's at with Seattle, where he's at with Detroit in terms of how the Rams are going to fare. We'll talk about all of that after our break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, this show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Look, you and I, we make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement of this sports season. Whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both, there's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, somehow, PrizePicks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere PrizePicks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. What I love about PrizePicks is it's so quick and easy. Like, literally, if it's 2 minutes before the game and you just have this hunch that someone on, you know, any team is going to get the job done. For me, it was the Thursday game on Thanksgiving, Chiefs, Cowboys. I just had this hunch like, this is going to be a shootout, right? I think a lot of people were thinking that. But when I go to PrizePicks, I look at the lines, and Mahomes passing yards, Dak passing yards are not as high as I thought they would be. I'm like, man, give me that. And it takes 60 seconds. Now there's this new stacks feature. It's a game changer. You can stack multiple picks for the same player, which you weren't able to do in the past. So on that game, I picked Dak for yards. I picked Mahomes for yards, and I picked Mahomes for touchdowns. Guess what? 3 for 3. We got paid. Absolutely love it. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves my lineup from a loss. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's what? It's good to be right. Back here, Locked On Rams Squad Show, me and Rams legend, NFL legend, now media mogul, Big Brock, Michael Brockers. He was at SoFi 2 games ago, breaking things down, celebrating AD. Now this weekend, he's over there in Detroit. This guy's doing media stuff for Thursday Night Football. He's the man. He's the man. And that's his other team. I get it. He's got to pay homage. You know, he played for that team. And we'll see what happens in a couple weeks when the Rams play that team. But for now, the Rams got to focus on bouncing back from a loss and get a win against the Cardinals. Big Brock, I'm curious. I know we talked about it in the post-game show, of course, directly after the game. But just your thoughts on the defensive performance a little bit more from Sunday, because it felt like the big talking point for most of this season, outside of all the good things, right, in terms of Stafford and the offense and Devontae and, oh, my goodness, the pass rush, the front seven, it's been the secondary. And it was, wow, the secondary is no good. Then it was, wow, the secondary is actually playing pretty well despite Ahkello Witherspoon being out. And now, just like that, one game, a couple deep passes, and suddenly Emmanuel Forbes sucks again. Suddenly we should have acquired 2 more guys at the deadline. Like, what say you? What say you, Mr. Defender?
Oh, man. Like, it was a tough game. It was a tough game for Emmanuel. I'm be honest with you. I was even saying, just as a fan, I'm like, damn, he looking like when he was with the Commanders. I'm like, damn, he took a step back, And I hate talking about, because I know we're players. I know we just have bad games, whatever it is, So I hopefully this is a bounce back game for him. But yeah, man, he definitely had a bad game. Everybody isn't perfect every game. So, I mean, hopefully he looks at this and just, he locks back in. He probably was one of those guys starting to, especially coming off getting traded and, being released as a first-round pick, coming onto a team. Nobody really, knows who you are for real. Then, really setting that standard. Now having a bad game and everybody kind of, is in that place of like, oh man, you suck, or, you're not that good, or whatever would have you. What I would say to that is he has to just, do what he was doing early in the season. I don't know if he had that chip on his shoulder. He was out to really prove to the world that, he was, better than what the Commanders really thought about him. So if he can go back into that, lock in, and just never leave that dark place, obviously you want to be somebody who truly enjoys football and loves football, but it's something about that dark place that you kind of can put yourself in where, you don't want to talk to nobody. You're just so focused and locked in on the task that you have at hand that, nothing phases you, good play, bad play, nothing phases you. You're just locked in, each and every play. You might mess up. You might have a, bad play. You lock in again, then you come up with the ball some kind of way. So, obviously bad game by him. All of us have bad days. I look forward to him just having a bounce back game versus the Cardinals. And if he doesn't, then we might have to figure some things out. But I hope as a man, as a player, and I know he's sitting up there watching the same film we watched Sunday, that he has to be better. The standard is high, especially with these Rams. The standard is high. I feel like he'll do a good job. This upcoming weekend we'll see a better Emmanuel Forbes. Coming into the Cardinal Stadium coming Sunday.
Yeah, and I mean it's a weird thing with the Panthers matchup because they got a exciting rookie receiver in Ted McMillan. They have a couple of guys that can kind of every once in a while have a sneaky play, like a Jalen Coker who got Emmanuel Forbes, right? But the Panthers, in every way, but especially their offense, and especially on Sunday, they kind of lull you to sleep, right? It's a bunch of run the ball, like not that, check down. And then it's just like that, boom, 1 or 2 plays. And suddenly you gave up a 50-yard touchdown, right? You gave up and a lot of people in the post-game show in the comments were infuriated that we gave up these 4th down touchdowns. I'm like, those are the kind of the hardest ones to predict because you're so worried about just trying to not give up a yard or 2. And then the Panthers sneak one out the back and go get a 30-yard, 40-yard touchdown. Like that's when it's really difficult. I'm not ready to sound the alarm yet. I do have one question for you though, about kind of, we started the show with this kind of conversation about the mental aspect, the confidence, things like that, coming off a loss, yada, yada. If you ask me, this is just my assumption. If there's maybe 2 positions that are more based on confidence than any other in football, you'd probably say quarterback, number 1, without a doubt. Like, no matter what the question is, it feels like the answer is always going to be quarterback. That's just how it is with the sport. But I mean, confidence, like if your quarterback is not confident, like what's the point? You got no chance, right? And the other position is cornerback, right? I feel like those are the 2 positions above all. Like if you're D tackle, if Big Brock is not confident, like, yes, that's a problem, but he's still going to do his job. He's still going to rush the passer. He's still going to try to stop the run game. he might just get pushed around every once in a while. If your corner's not confident, he's cooked. If your quarterback's not confident, he's cooked. Now, on the flip side, and this is where I ask you, the two guys who probably had the worst games on Sunday were arguably Matthew Stafford and Emmanuel Forbes, two guys who came in probably the most confident as anybody on the team. Is there some parallel there in terms of most of the team with McVay and everything, they're not going to get got. They're not going to fall for that trap game. But maybe is it just the two guys that are maybe the most reliant on confidence in a Matthew Stafford, in Emmanuel Forbes? Is it a coincidence that they're maybe the two that did kind of fall for this trap game? Or am I just a guy who's talking out of his you-know-what?
I mean, it's a lot of, things that played into that game. Like, obviously, at corner, anytime you have a bad play, it's going to be amplified because usually if you have a bad play, the receiver's catching the ball and he's either scoring or it's a big game, right? So anytime you give up anything, it looks bad. Quarterback, anytime you throw a pick or you turn over the ball, it just looks bad. It's amplified because of that position. It's such a I guess I would want to say it, obviously it's a team, but those positions are so like isolating, like because you have to be good at what you do at your position. You're not really leaning at D tackle. Me personally, I didn't have to lean on me doing all the work. Like that the ball had to get cut off. Linebackers had to blitz. Things of that nature. So a lot of times I was looking for my teammate to help me out in a situation because obviously playing D tackle, playing D line, you have to work together. But when you're on an island and then when you're the guy in charge, obviously it's gonna be everything. Everything is gonna be more amplified for you. Do I think they fell into the trap game theory? No. I just think your West Coast team going to the East Coast, playing at 10 a.m. It's raining. It's cold. It's a lot of variables that played into that game. Obviously, we're football players. We should be able to play it any weather, yes. But when you really look at it and you take science and sleep and all that into consideration, there's some things that we were at a little bit of a disadvantage playing in that game. Obviously, our standards are high. We should win every game. That's just the way we feel as Rams fans. But it's a lot of variables that played into that game. As you mentioned, when on fourth down, you're thinking about, is this guy going to run a slant? He's going to run something quick, especially if it's fourth and short, 4th and 1, anything like that. And then this guy, gives you a little move and then goes on, on top of you as far as, going down the field. So it's like, it's a lot of variables in that game, to kind of take away from the Rams, kind of take the brunt of this loss away from the Rams because we have, I'm gonna be honest with you, excuses to say why we lost that game. But when it comes to those two positions, definitely confidence has to be high. And that's why I said, with Emmanuel Forbes, man, you have to live in that dark place because a lot of DBs, if you're not confident, you have to fake it till you make it because anything you do out there is going to be seen, it's going to be amplified, and you have to go out there and act like nobody can score on you because you're already at a disadvantage. This game is meant now, the NFL and this game is meant to score points. That's all they want to see. They want to see more points and more points. Defense is at a disadvantage already going into the game before the game even starts. So for me, you have to have the ultimate confidence at cornerback because guys are going to make plays. A receiver is going to catch the ball. It's not, you're not just going to be super locked down, Darrelle Revis, 17 weeks in the playoffs, So you have to have that confidence and you have to have, just a quick turnaround in your brain, a quick switch where, yes, you might have a bad play, but that play can't lead on to you having another bad play and another. It can't snowball effect on you. You have to, get rid of, you had a bad play, get rid of that play. Next play, you're locking this guy up. So confidence, it plays a big part of cornerback and quarterback. It's just at cornerback, you have to fake it till you make it. You really do, because like I said, you're at a disadvantage playing defense anyway in this league.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you look at both of the plays that are against Emmanuel Forbes that everyone's going to highlight, the 33-yarder to Coker, the 43-yarder to Tet McMillan. The Coker, it's a 4th and 3, 4th and, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, middle of the field. There's no safety help. Like you said, he's probably, thinking if it is a pass, it's a quick slant of some sort. It just takes a quick move. He breaks the press. Maybe doesn't get his hands on him enough. Sure. Gets beat immediately off the snap. But it's still a perfect throw from Bryce Young. If that ball's underthrown, right, Emmanuel Forbes probably turns around and maybe picks it. Instead, it's put perfectly in the breadbasket. Then the one to Tet McMillan, the 4th and 2, play action. There's guys in motion. You fake the handoff. They run a crossing route. Xavier Legette, Tet McMillan. I actually thought Emmanuel Forbes did a really good job of somehow not getting picked on that play. It was kind of one of those deep crossers where you're hoping that the two corners kind of run into each other. Emmanuel Forbes is on Tet McMillan like Velcro. He's right there, doesn't get tripped up. But that's where I think maybe the confidence came back to bite him on this one. He looks like he's trying to undercut the route.
Undercut the throw, yeah.
He's thinking Bryce Young does not have enough maybe arm strength or enough accuracy to put it over the shoulder perfectly. If that ball comes out flat, kind of like the first one, Emmanuel Forbes is getting a pick, and he's continuing his trend of being a lockdown player for the Rams. Instead, it's a perfect kind of lollipop rainbow throw right over the shoulder, and it's a touchdown, right? And then, like you said, it's a matter of feet, yards that make the difference between Emmanuel Forbes, another week where PFF is glazing him, and instead it's, oh my gosh, he stinks, right? Just like that. It takes PFF. It takes a couple yards, and that's everything in the NFL. But before we let you go, before we get D-Mac in here, I just real quick got to hear your predictions for Rams Cardinals. Rams 8-point favorites in Arizona. Still no Kyler Murray. I believe Marvin Harrison Jr.'s game time decision or might still be out again. He's dealing with appendicitis. But the whole world, the same way the whole world was on the Rams to win the Super Bowl, the whole world is on the Rams to cover the 8, to blow out the Cardinals. The same narrative of, oh, they're coming off a loss. No way they're going to, turn the ball over and lose back-to-back games. Do you agree? Or is this a trap game in a different sense?
No, I think this is definitely a BTA all day. BTA all day on this one, man. Hey, Rams got to get it done. This is the Cardinals we talking about, and I hope I don't get no flack. And if I do, it is what it is. It's the Cardinals. Like let's really lock in. Let's really lock in and do what we have to do. We obviously know we can just show up and we can beat the Cardinals, but let's not do that. We just lost, trying to attempt that. Let's get better. Let's execute, and let's really show who we really are as an organization.
Yes, sir. Well, amen. I hope you're right. I'll give my prediction later on, but for now, Big Brock signing off. We'll continue.
No, I'm not signing off. My guy Doug said just stay. So I'm gonna stay in here.
Look at this.
With the crew.
Past midnight.
Come on, man.
Past midnight his time. Big Brock ain't going nowhere. He said, I'm not leaving. I'm not bleeping leaving. Come on. Heck yeah. All right.
Well, we're going to take our break. Me, man.
Oh, yeah. The mob squad. I'm fired up. Big Brock got me. He got me fired up, man. All right. We're going to take our break. When we come back, the whole mob squad will keep talking Rams. We'll talk a little more Panthers. We'll talk the state of the team. We'll get more Cardinals talk going after our break here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. And we are back right here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. And D-Mac is in the building to join Big Brock and I, the Mob Squad, in the building. I think I said that like 3 times. We already talked a little bit about kind of the state of affairs for the Rams, what the locker room might be like after a loss like that against the team you're expecting to beat. At the same time, maybe not the end of the world. We talked a little Emmanuel Forbes. But D-Mac, in the building, I got to ask you, has your kind of mindset regarding Sunday's loss changed? I don't know. I've been all over the place. On Sunday, I was like, it was copium, right? It was, this is a really bad loss, but it's okay. But, wait, I'm not concerned about the team. I'm concerned we might have blown our chance to get the first round bye. And then by Tuesday night, I was like, we're fine. The Bears aren't actually good. We'll still handle business against Seattle. Now I'm kind of somewhere in between. Where are you, D-Mac?
No, you read my mind. Absolutely. I think First of all, I want to say thanks, Big Brock, staying up. Little squad show after dark. I'm gonna give you my game check. Whatever we get paid per episode, you're not gonna feel it. I'll give you my game check, man, for rocking with us late on the East Coast. It's tomorrow for you already, so I really appreciate that. But you read my mind, Gavin, because look, I was on the cruise, right, sipping whatever you sip on cruises, pina coladas, right, the Mai Tais, maybe some Hennessy in there, a little bit, some shots, and I was kind of chilling. I think I was a little more positive than I usually am after a loss. I was like, oh, it's just a wake-up call. I'm not too worried. But then just rewatching the game, and I just sitting back and learning from Brock and you too, just about just coverages. And yeah, like, sure, Emmanuel Forbes wasn't his best day. Truth is, you give any NFL quarterback that kind of time, he's going to be able to execute throws like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he deserves an off game. There's no doubt about it. But it's just this Rams team and the mindset of, look, you can't lose to teams you're supposed to win. And I love the confidence, Brock. I wish I had it against the Cardinals, but the same reason that the Panthers were playing for their season, right? They still have some playoff hopes. Bryce Young is trying to get that 5th year, trying to get an extension with them. He's got a lot to play for. It was like their Super Bowl. I mean, it was a home team trying to knock off the Rams. This is Jonathan Gannon's Super Bowl. This is the biggest game of his career, potentially, because they're talking about firing that dude. And just kind of looking up at some of these numbers, I mean, Jacoby Brissett, he's not that old. I mean, like early 30s, 32, 33. Since week 5, he leads the league and is right up there for touchdown pass and passing yardage. So it's not like he's just been a game manager or anything like that. So he's playing for a job. And you got no Connor, you got no Kyler Murray. Yes, they're not the same roster, but I just think that I'm with you, Brock. Like, if they go and they drop 30 on them and it's a 30-20 game, a 30-17 game, like, I wouldn't be shocked at all whatsoever. But I think that moving forward, this Rams team needs to know that even if you're not going up against teams that are playing for seeding and playoff positioning, they're going to get every team's best shot for one reason or the other. So I think that hopefully is the big takeaway from the Panthers game, because this is a team that I think needs to get that number 1 seed. So, yeah, it's frustrating. There's a lot of reasons why they lost. Matthew Stafford looking mortal, still had a chance to win. You're not going to win with that kind of turnover margin. But, hey, like, this has to be absolute. This should feel like playoff adjacent for the Rams if they're serious about getting that 1 seed, because no one wants to go to Seattle. No one wants to go to Philly. Chicago, they're going to lose games. They play the Packers twice. They got the Niners. I mean, they got a tough stretch down the road. Who knows? It's so important because of how well this team plays at home. I got some numbers on that in a little bit, but I just think that this needs to be looked at as, hey, Cardinals are coming out swinging, head coach playing for a job, quarterback playing for a job. And look, it's the NFC West. Brock, I mean, you tell me, man. I mean, it's always a battle in your division. Even if there's a team pulling away, you guys just kind of are more familiar with each other. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you feel like you know the team, especially if you have to play them twice, in the year. It's like, okay, I'll take the first punch, but I'll get you back. Especially, how we did with the Niners. They beat us early in the season. We come back, we fix, we execute some things, and we come out and blow them out the water. So, obviously early on, it's going to be a tough game, but usually with the Cardinals, once you get up on them and they feel like there's no way to win, they kind of roll over and just quit. They have really nothing to play for. 3-9 this year. It's if you get up on them early and make them feel like they have no shot, they'll just roll over and quit. They'll start running the ball real early and trying to run the clock out and things of that nature. So it's simply put, it's going to be on us. This game is going to be dependent on how we show up. What are we going to do? It doesn't matter what the Arizona Cardinals does. I'm be honest with you. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett might be doing pretty well, but it truly doesn't matter what the Arizona Cardinals do. It matters 100% on how the Rams come out in this game and how they execute.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you have the better about everything that matters. The better coach, the better quarterback, the better weapons, the better defensive line, the better offensive line. Like there shouldn't be a reason you lose this game. And you kind of feel like it's the same with the Panthers in terms of I can't really name any positions that the Panthers are better at. And again, I mean, D-Mac, you tell me your opinion, because Brock and I were laughing about it maybe being copium, but this is still a game, this Panthers game, going back to that, where the Rams, offensively were more effective on a, if you want to go PFF, if you want to go advanced stats, if you want to talk EPA per play, if you want to talk yards per play, like the Rams were more effective. They lost the game because they turned the ball over 3 times and gave 2 30+ yard touchdown passes. Like, I read a stat. It doesn't seem like it can be right, but it said that the Carolina Panthers had 54 air yards. 54 air yards. And they probably had 25 of them on the Coker touchdown and probably 15 to 20 on the Tet. Like, there was no throws down the field. We're talking about the secondary maybe struggling. They didn't really get challenged that much. They just unfortunately got burned the few times they did. Like, is it copium, D-Mac, in your opinion, to say that loss wasn't really a loss? Like, it was a couple big key mistakes that the Rams won't make very often, and they'll be just fine.
Well, first of all, you're starting to sound like Steve Sarkisian in Texas trying to talk about Ohio State loss and why they should be in the CFP. About, we outgained them. We're the better team. Yeah. Hey, the scoreboard determines who was the better team that day. Okay, let's just be honest about that. But I agree with both you guys and Brock 100% and that should make you feel really good about this Rams team. Is last couple of seasons is, let's get into the playoffs. Let's get into that dance, right? Like let's give our A performance and hope they give their B, and then we can win, right? Now it's if you execute and you play to your strengths, your capabilities, you're going to beat any team in the NFL. And we haven't been able to say that about a Rams team since 2021. So the fact that you got talent all over the field, and that, look, yes, I mean, it's a short season, but I'm sure it feels long for NFL players that are going through this grind. It's the holidays. I mean, there's lulls into it. Even there's peaks and valleys in every season. I mean, you're not going to have every team go undefeated and play their best. But as far as why they lost that Panthers team, we talked about it. I mean, they abandoned the run when they shouldn't have. I mean, Blake Corum, Kyron Williams should have gotten more carries when it's raining, and Matthew Stafford is missing guys. Miss Puka, missed kind of late on a Devontae Reed, goes to the check down. Miss Terrence Ferguson a couple different times. And I think that, look, I'm the number one Sean McVay fan. I really am. Like, I'm his number one fan. Like, maybe the McVays love him more than I do, but it's close, like his family and friends. But the one thing about Sean McVay is there's sometimes a stubbornness, I feel like, in certain situations where, hey, like, there's no reason to make things more difficult than they need to be. Because if you're screaming at your TV saying, run the football, it's working, and I'm screaming at my TV saying, run the football, it's working, and people in the crowd are noticing it, why are you airing out the ball as much as you are? I mean, I don't think that it's some MVP campaign for Matthew Stafford or anything like that. I just think that just kind of the awareness in the sense of kind of going with what works, I think is kind of the thing. Here's the thing, though. I mean, the defense had their clunker, and I think for a defense that has been great all season long, sure, you can look past this one, but the reason why you can overcome, like you said, Gavin, just the Rams outplaying them in most areas and looking at the box score without looking at the score of the game, you say, the Rams probably won. It's turnovers and executing on 3rd down and 4th down and getting explosive plays. I mean, those are 3 reasons why the Panthers won. Bryce Young, 8 for 10. We're 162 yards on 3rd down and 4th down. I mean, you look at that right there. I mean, that's the game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. 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 No, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, in my eyes, though, I think when you look at this Rams team and just kind of how far they've come, you can use a game like the Panthers game as you point out, Brock, to kind of download information for the future and know, hey, if a certain scheme isn't working against a mediocre quarterback or a slightly above average quarterback, you need to be a little more aggressive, Chris Shula. And yes, these cornerbacks, it's designed to just prevent completions in space. But I think that was the issue, is if you're not getting pressure without blitzing in the playoffs, that's not a strategy that I want to employ, because I don't want to put these cornerbacks on an island, right? I don't want to put these safeties on an island against talented receivers. So that was the difference in the game for me, is Bryce Young got way too comfortable, and these receivers got way too much time against these Rams DBs. So I hope that's a learning lesson that, hey, we know that numbers-wise we're holding opponents to 17, 16 points per game at home and things like that, but you kind of have to kind of throw the schemes out a little bit and kind of give guys looks they haven't seen before too. I mean, that's another thing too. I think the Panthers had a really good game plan, and they're basing that on all the looks that the Rams are giving teams all year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I want to ask Brock.
No.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, we're just so used to having Sean McVay and saying every single game, we're pretty sure we're going to have the better game plan. Like, we're going to be more prepared coming into it. We're going to have a better game plan, and we're going to execute it better. Every once in a while, you just got to say, hey, Dave Canales had a nice game plan, which was, hey, this Rams pass rush kills teams. Let's take it out of the game by running the ball. And in years past, the Rams not only, you would take the pass rush out, but there would actually be effectiveness in the run game against the Rams. DMAC has rightfully pointed out Poona Ford and the improvements that the other guys on the D-line have made to slow down the run to where the Panthers still only run for 4 yards a carry despite running the ball 5 million times in that game. But it wasn't to try to rip off 5, 6, 7-yard runs. It was to, like Brock always says, not give the front seven the right to rush the passer. And then guess what? Bryce Young only needs to complete a couple plays, a couple passes, avoid the negative plays. Big Brock, do you feel like, that whole earn the right to rush the passer, it feels like it was a non-factor. There was only 2 sacks against Bryce Young, all 5'8" of him. You weren't able to get at him and allow him to be comfortable and complete a couple deep throws.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what both of you saying is correct, man. I just think they just got out schemed, and we've seen it happen before in this season. We've seen the 49ers take that same approach where they're not looking to break off explosive runs, explosive passes. All they want to do is wear down the defense, keep the offense on the bench, and just, stay ahead of the sticks. If they get 3, if they get 4, they're okay with that. If they get just little drag routes, crosses, the main play you run as a little kid on Madden where you just run the drags across the screen, it's like they didn't care. What they are trying to do is take the air out of the defense, run the ball, continue to run the ball, don't give them chances to really rush the passer. Don't get in a situation where you're 2nd and long, 3rd and long. Let's stay ahead of the sticks. Like we love being in situations. I'm not talking about but the offense that going against our defense, they would love to be in situations where, it's 3rd and 3, it's 3rd and 2. You can possibly go for it on 4th down, then it's, 4th and 1, then can convert, then go get another 3-yard play. Like that's the constant theme. And then, what that does, that gets everybody hunkered down on the run game. Then you go play action pass. Nobody's rushing the passer because they've been playing run blocks this whole series. Then that's where you get beat over top and things like that. So it's all about the scheme and the way coaches are game planning the Rams, and if they can execute that and just say we're not getting any pressure, we don't stop the run game, it's going to be a long game for us. So if we can get in the backfield, get some tackles for loss, get some sacks, get some negative plays on defense, that plays into our hand. But if you can stay in front of the sticks and just keep the defense on the field and keep the offense off the field, that's our kryptonite, and we just have to find a way to counter that game plan.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, I don't know if you guys felt his absence just looking out there, and I'm talking about Quentin Lake, and of course UCLA Bruin. It's signing day. I think UCLA got 2 1-stars and a 2-star.
Man, get out of here, man. Why do you do this to me?
Maybe if Brock, if you combine all of our stars, it's 1 5-star. You know what I mean? It's we got 5 1-stars.
So disrespectful.
Okay, but
come on now.
But talking about Quentin Lake though, is one thing that you see with Chris Shula is it's the use of cover 3, right? They use those sub packages that allows Shula to disguise all those coverages with all the post snap stuff, and then you are able to cut off those intermediate routes, like you're saying. They struggle with Mac Jones, but for the most part, they're not getting those, and they're trying to get that quarterback to hold onto the football as long as he can, and you use that elite pass rush to get home. And when that doesn't happen, though, and you don't have a guy like Quentin Lake who allows them to kind of just mix up those alignments to play a little more nickel and kind of be a little more versatile, it kind of puts you in a little bit of a tough spot if you're not able to generate that pressure like we've seen them do for most of the season. So, I mean, we know that they're a cover 3 team. They're not going to go cover 1, not going to play a lot of man. Chris Shields played more dime than anyone in the NFL last couple of seasons. They're going to stick to their principles. Yeah. But, I mean, this is a league where by 2 weeks' time, there's different schemes that are going against your defense. And I think, too, one thing that I find a little interesting, and I was just thinking about when I woke up at 3:30 in the morning just staring at the ceiling fan, was last year, obviously NFL teams, Brock, I'm sure you can tell us, it doesn't matter who you're playing. There's always going to be game planning towards your team no matter what. Teams are trying to win no matter what the records are. But the Rams and Chris Shula and the momentum that they've had this season, I'm sure there's just more of an emphasis on what they're doing just because they're the team that teams are chasing. And when that usually happens, you start to see some breakthroughs. We saw it on the other end when McVay was ahead of the game with 11 personnel. Then all of a sudden you saw people catch up. So I'm not saying that they've caught up to Chris Shula or anything like that, but hey, it's definitely going to be a little different against these teams moving forward, I think, because they know exactly what the Rams are going to do. And if the Rams execute it, fine. But if you're not able to get that pressure like we've seen this season, then I think there's got to be some adjustments. Forbes has got to be like, yo, get to the quarterback, man. Like, you're leaving me out here to get burned. So it was frustrating on the rewatch. It definitely was.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like everything you just said about the dime, the nickel, the coverages you're running, it feels like the Rams defense is built perfectly for 95% of the games, which is the Rams are winning, they're dominating, the other team has to pass, the other team can't run, eventually play out, right? They have to pass. They have to let our pass rushers get after them. They have to take a pass, take a shot 8, 10, 12 yards down the field and not check downs. 90% of the time, our defense is perfect because that's going to be the state of the game. The Rams are one of the best teams of football. They're going to be leading. The question is, did the Panthers just kind of, and the Niners early in the year, kind of reveal that blueprint of, hey, if you can just keep this game close against the Rams, eventually they're going to have to creep up. You're going to beat those weak corners over the top. And on the flip side, maybe you get lucky and Matthew Stafford throws a pick. But at the end of the day, like D-Mac said, like Brock said, the Rams' best is still better than probably anybody's best. And you just hope you give your best in the playoffs when it really, really matters. When we come back from our last break here, we'll see if, this blueprint, it's something maybe the Cardinals try to copy to surprise the Rams, or will the Rams just handle business like they need to do to stay atop the NFC West? We'll talk about that. We'll get our official predictions in after our last break. And again, no ad, baby, right here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. Back here on the Locked On Rams Squad Show. I say no ad for those watching on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio, we slipped one more in right there. But we are back, and D-Mac, I don't know if you heard, but Brock already gave his prediction. He said, man, we're handling business, right? We're favored by 8 points. If you go on all of the sites, I'm the best, picks person ever, I'm this record against the spread, whatever. They all are like, man, the Rams are going to crush the Cardinals. It's like, it just lines up to that be the case. The Rams coming off for a loss, the Cardinals stink, yada, yada, yada. The Rams are going to win this game. Does that scare you at all? It must scare you a little bit, given that's probably the exact reason they lost last week with the Rams being all high and mighty. Do you, D-Mac, see the Rams handling business, or is this going to be a close game?
I see the Rams handling business. I definitely look at a Cardinals team that's allowed the 4th most sacks in the league. So I think that things kind of level out and they start to get that ferocious pass rush that we've seen most of the season. That's what the optimistic side says. And then the pessimistic side says, oh, this is a Rams team that's made some average quarterbacks look really good at times this year. And like I said, I mean, if I told you that Jacoby Brissett since week 6 leads the NFL in passing yards and is 5th in passing touchdowns, probably wouldn't believe me, right? I mean, I don't even believe it, even though I got the data myself. But I think that is always the concern. And like some of the things I laid out, I still believe in this Rams team. I think that the character of these guys and the head coach, I just believe in these guys. I think they're on a mission, and I feel like you can get that sense whether you're following your teams in any sport when, oh, this has the chance to be a special year. This is a team that's on a mission. They understand that this is not a team that's built for some 10-year run to the Super Bowl, but the way that things are laid out this year, they have as good of a chance as anyone. I think they take care of business. I think you see a renewed focus. I think you see a sharper game for Matthew Stafford, not turning the football over. Kyron and Blake Corum, that would probably be one of the lead topics this show had they had won this game, with how they're able to mix things up and be this two-headed monster. So I got the Rams winning. I'm not going to go in the 30s again, even though I think it's extremely possible that they end up there. But I will get close, 29. So I'll go 29. I'll go 29 to 16, 29-16. The Rams do get that win. By the way, Michael Brockers, you any fond memories of being at LSU signing day? I do say that LSU, by the way, they finished 12th in recruiting. 12th in recruiting. UCLA, give UCLA credit. They finished ahead of Miami in the recruiting rankings.
Thank you, D-Mac. Thank you.
No, it's Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio. All right? It's Miami of Ohio. Ohio's UCLA finished 95th. 95th. LSU finishing 12 with the coaching change. You got to feel pretty good about that. But what was it like at LSU on National Signing Day? I'm pretty sure it must have been like an insane buzz.
Man, to be honest with you, I was such a LSU fan, especially in high school because they won a couple of championships and things of that nature. I wanted to go to LSU. So I was LSU down before they even, brought the hats out. It wasn't like a big deal. It was just a big deal for me and my family that I was going to LSU, Rude awakening when I got there. I had to really fall in love with football because Coach Moffitt and a lot of his strength conditioning coaches, his strength and conditioning program, it makes you really wonder if you love football or not. But, love football, learned to love football at LSU. But, the signing day was awesome. The atmosphere is awesome. We got Lane Kiffin right now. I seen Joe Burrow kind of, a reporter asked him about it, and he was like, and I can understand him on one end, like why he feels that way, because, Lane Kiffin just bounced around. Like he's at one team here, one team there, OC here, OC, so I can see why he feels like we just got to see, but it's better than what I felt like when we got Brian Kelly, where I was like, that's that wasn't attractive at all. So at least Lane Kiffin's a little bit more attractive. He has SEC experience, so we can go off of that and understand, okay, we got a coach, at least he understands. BK was just like, I don't know, it's real questionable.
The second he was doing that thing where he was dancing with the vest on, I don't even know which recruit that was.
No, when he switched his voice up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. My family.
My family. Yeah.
My family.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to ask you guys about, off topic, crazy off topic. I've seen a lot of people. I don't know if you guys have seen this the last couple of days. OBJ, LSU dude, Tiger, on a podcast saying, that it's tough when you have $100 million and then you mismanage and this and that. I read the comments. People are saying, "Oh, I wish I had that problem. I wish I had $100 million." I'm on the opposite side of that. I'm like, dude, if I had $100 million, that would be gone so fast. Like, it's. I feel like the taxes, you're at $60 million, and then you always think about it. Like, no matter where you're living, it's like, oh, I got a raise. All right, cool. I'll just get a new spot. Oh, I got a raise. I'll get a better car. It's like, no matter where you're at, you're gonna like keep trying. If you got a billionaire, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy 3 yachts in a freaking in a spaceship. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Right.
Gavin, let me get your take. What do you think about this? I mean, were you like, what are you saying?
I don't know why you're asking me. You should ask somebody who's a lot closer to that to that $100 million than me. But I mean,
especially when he gets my locked on game check.
I mean, personally, as someone who will never even smell $100 million, I don't know how you can't.
No, don't speak that. You will, man. You will. If you put it up, if you put it on your mind, you will. You will.
Hey, well, then I'll put it on my mind. Wait, I'll put it on my mind right now. Please.
No, right. Absolutely.
I don't know. I think $100 million is more than enough money to live on. D-Mac just said poor OBJ has to buy a home when he goes to a new city. Wait, who am I feeling bad for? What? I got to go live in a hotel for $500. Poor OBJ has to buy a home when he's in a new city?
No, but I just say, you heard James, I just think that it's more complicated. I think that everyone says, oh, I would invest all this money and I would do all this and this and that. And sure, OBJ's in the national championship game, like handing out money, which he probably shouldn't have done in that situation, right? But I just think, you heard like Jameis Winston, right? Talking about how he had family members and they were spending like $400,000 a month. It's like, it's got to be tough. I mean, Brock, I know you probably know. I mean, like you got to draw a line somewhere. It's like I don't know. I don't know. I just think everyone's always acting like, oh, like I would be so responsible with all my money. OBJ's a fool, right? Yeah, right. I don't know, man. I get one Lambo, I need a Bentley. I got a Bentley, I need a Rolls. You know what I mean? Like, live it up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. People don't understand because they can't fathom like having that much money and being able to buy whatever you want. You know what I mean? It's like when you don't have that much money, you kind of really particular on like what you buy. But when you got $100 million, you're like, oh, I buy that. And then all of a sudden you start seeing it dwindle and getting shorter, and you're like, oh, okay. So it's just about managing, but not everybody manages money properly. So like I'm with you, D-Mac. People love to say, oh yeah, what I would have did if I had it, but it's a reason why you don't. So
Who on the team had the best car game?
Oh, car?
Yeah. Like you pull up, like who was the most into cars?
Man, I don't know, man. I think I was the first one that kind of like broke the car game open for us, because we had a lot of guys, just regular F-150s, they show up. See, I pulled out the 488 Spider on it, the Ferrari Spider in LA, and they were like, ooh, shit. So when I pulled out the Ferrari, they were like, okay, let me up my game. Then all of a sudden you start seeing Lambos, and you start seeing this and that. So yeah, I think I opened up the car game I don't think I had the best car game, but I think for me, changing that culture as far as like let's get some real sports cars out here and see who ready to roll. So that's my little 2 cents on that subject.
Man, was it hard to get in that thing? It wasn't hard to fit in that thing?
Yeah, totally. I had it for like 6 months, got out of it.
Yeah, I'm like, I see the Dodgers park. I mean, it's funny because like you mentioned the truck thing. Dodgers parking lot. I'm not giving out license plates or anything or saying makes and models and colors or anything, but it's truck.
Mm-hmm.
Couple Porsches here and there. Baseball players, I mean, at least the ones on the Dodgers don't really get down. Like I would think like the best, like Dion having the Lambo shipped out to the Super Bowl type of thing, right? So I think it goes NBA, NFL kind of competing, then it's like baseball players after that.
Yeah, but the baseball players got all the money. That's what's crazy. They got all the money.
The ones that do certainly do. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, you guys are having big baller conversations right now. I'm just sitting here like I had to Google what a 488 Spider was. I'm like, what the heck's a 488 Spider? Put me on, Big Brock. I have no idea. Now I see it, and it's nice. It's nice. But yeah, fair enough. All I'll say is, if I had $100 million, I'm not saying you don't got to be responsible, but you can be pretty unresponsible and still survive. I'll leave it at that. You can still be just fine. We can still be just fine. But
I thought about one thing I would do. I would go to Mitchell and Ness in Philadelphia and get every single jersey, even the teams I hate. Like I'd get every 49ers jersey. That would be the first thing. I'd be going around like it was like 2003, and I'm like in like a Nelly video or something. Like I just like those quality like $300, $400 Mitchell and Ness jerseys that look so sick in the closets. Like on those, it's like all the like. That'd be definitely one of the first things I would do. Like, I'm just like, I'm a jersey fiend, because thing about shoes is if you collect the shoes, it's like you wear them like 2 times on concrete. As nice as they are, it's like, dude, I'm like sweating these things. Like jerseys, you can kind of keep nice forever. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. It's funny because you read my mind. I was about to say I would do the exact same thing, but for shoes. So you just got me.
No, I love shoes. Okay. What's your Grail shoe? Like, if you could have any, like you like
Off-White Jordan 1. The UNC like blue one.
Those are sick.
With the orange zip tie. Fire in my opinion.
I'd probably go to Chicago's, but same thing.
Same vibe. What about you?
Or Eminem 4s. I do like some of those Drake Jordan ones they went crazy with.
Yeah. And then just for fun, the Air Mags, the like the Back to the Future shoes that are like $20,000, like just for the vibes. I would rip those just because
you would never wear those. Never wear them.
Yeah, I got my Rams ones right here. These are my Rams ones.
There you go.
You know what
Fire.
I'm saying? Got my
Fire.
Rams ones. But yeah,
Fire.
no, good stuff.
Fire. I know Brock's got. That's the thing though. Brock, whatever shoe Brock want, he got. So we don't got to ask him. He's got it. He's got it. So
and I wear my shoes out, so I'm not like a collector. If I like it, I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna wear it out. So
there you go. Amen. 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 Well, we'll quickly, DMAC, you had the Rams handling business. Brock had the Rams handling business. I've got the Rams handling business. I kind of go back and forth on this one. I'm going to fall for the trap that everyone else fell for, and I'm going to say it's going to be a big win. I'm going 30-17. At the end of the day, the Rams are still top of the league in just about everything that matters. They're 6th in points per game. They're 8th in yards per game. They're 5th in yards per play. Third down conversions might be where they're kind of average on third downs at time. In the red zone, they're suddenly lights out, 4th in the league with Devontae Adams. They're 1st in touchdowns per game, right? Just like every stat that matters, they're there. Meanwhile, Arizona, kind of the complete opposite, right? They're in the bottom third in points and yards and conversions on third down and fourth down, red zone score, right? They're average or worse at everything. I could see the Rams turning the ball over 2 times and still winning this game by 2 touchdowns. So give me Rams 30-17. Let's hope we're all right and that the Rams get the win. But for the Mob Squad, signing off here. Shout out to everybody. Leave those comments. Leave those likes. As Brock always says, we're number 1, baby. We're number 1. So keep it going. Likes, comments. We'll be back here live on Sunday directly after what better be, not hopefully will be, what better be a Rams win. Absolutely. So whose house? Rams house. BTA on Sunday. We'll be here post BTA on the Rams Squad Show. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you Sunday.